quarterback who perhaps we should start questioning their validity. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So, like I alluded to in the last segment, we are. Is it time to start questioning whether or not Trevor Lawrence is a bust? And the reason I had to address this question is because Trevor Lawrence was number one overall pick, and coming out of college, many said that he was the greatest college quarterback to play ever, and he's going to have an immediate impact on NFL. They said the same thing about Joe Burrow, though, and that's another quarterback who we might have to start, having some cause for concern for. But digress. And so they come to Trevor Lawrence comes into his rookie season, and I don't believe the first season, but the second season they make the playoffs. Might have been his first season, but they make the playoffs one year, and they have a little bit of success. But these past two seasons, his numbers have gone down tremendously, or they have more so plateaued, I'll say. And no one's questioning whether Trevor Lawrence is playing up to the standard. No one's questioning it, and people are saying that, well, it's because the lack of talent, the lack of pieces that are around him in Jacksonville. But at that level, as number one overall pick, you have to be so transcendent that you make players look better than what they are. And Dre brought up a good example of this in our live show about 2 weeks ago, where he talked about how Aaron Rodgers was so good that he made a lot of players look better than what they really were. A lot of receivers, and when you're the number one overall pick, that's the standard to which you're held to. And despite the talent around you, you have to make players look better than what they are. And because Trevor Lawrence has not had that winning impact, has not had a positive winning impact on his team consistently since he's been in Jacksonville, going into, I believe, his fourth year now, people have to start questioning, well, okay, what's his cap? Or, is there another level that Trevor Lawrence can get to? And should we start questioning whether he's a bust? And if not now, then when? Because if 2 more years of this subpar play continues, when do those conversations start to begin to happen? And I'm not saying this with gusto or with excitement. I do believe Trevor Lawrence is talented. I believe that Trevor Lawrence can be a great player in the NFL, but I just have to speak on things for what they are. Based on what I've seen so far, Trevor Lawrence has not been a number one. He has been playing like a number one overall pick. And I understand that most players, almost all quarterbacks, when they're drafted number one, they're drafted into very difficult, very bad situations. But Jacksonville has pieces. They've got Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, and Luke Farrell. They've got pieces on the offensive side of the ball, and we know how deep. We already know how good their defense is, and so they've got capable pieces on the offensive side for Trevor Lawrence to play with, to work with. But we just have not seen that consistent level of play, and I believe this is another year where if we get another subpar year for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, especially one in which they don't make the playoffs, now we start questioning whether or not Trevor Lawrence is a bust, or should we start calling him a bust? Because right now, where does Trevor Lawrence fall in terms of the ranking of quarterbacks in the NFL today? He's not better than that tier of the Herberts and the Burrows, and I don't think he's better than Dak. I don't think he's better than Jared Goff. I don't think he's better than Matt Stafford. I don't think he's better than Jordan Love right now. So you start going lower and lower to that tier, and then you start questioning, okay, well, the way New Orleans has been playing, and Is he as good as Derek Carr? And I would say that's about where that tier is. Maybe that's about where Trevor Lawrence is, like wherever Derek Carr is about at. And that's being generous. But we have to start questioning whether there is cause for concern and what's to be done. Trevor Lawrence isn't the guy in Jacksonville. Then what's the alternative, right? And that's something that we speak about with another team that, ironically or coincidentally, we're going to be discussing in the next segment. So you have to be very careful when moving forward from quarterbacks, because once again, it's the hardest position to play in the NFL, which means it's the hardest to get right. It's just so hard to get that position right when picking. And players can look great, they can look phenomenal, they can look outstanding on film and in college, but it just doesn't always translate. And then sometimes you miss on guys. So we have to start questioning whether Trevor Lawrence is a bust, or is it just a bad situation? I don't believe it's a bad situation. I believe there are pieces in Jacksonville, but I believe Trevor Lawrence just has to play better. He just has to play better. And like I said, if he doesn't continue, or if he doesn't have an upward trend in his level of play this season, there are some questions that have to start ruminating in that Jacksonville front office. But leave your thoughts in the comment section. Is it too early to put that label on Trevor Lawrence, or have you seen enough and have your eyes told you what they see? So in our next segment, guys, like I said, we're going to be discussing another quarterback for an NFC team that gets a lot of flack, and we're going to discuss whether that's rightfully so or not. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back.